How did you get into rowing after your rugby?
So I joined the army when I was 16 on a long-term scholarship scheme, and I went to a military college to do basic training and my A-levels, and then they sent me to university to do a degree that they sort of chose for me, with a view to joining the army as an officer. And unfortunately, just before going to officer training, I was medically discharged because of my arthritis. So I've got a fused wrist and a fused ankle, and they discharged me because of that. And then about a week later, my sister, who was at that point, I think, in the under-23 rowing team, said to me, "Oh, you need to come down and see if it classifies you for the LTA 4." And then literally the following week, I was doing a full-time training program, and it's been 2 years since then. And I was at University of Birmingham when that happened, finishing my degree. And then as soon as my exams started, I moved down, drove up to do the exams, did one exam out in a hotel in Germany whilst I was at a competition. You know, it's just been absolutely non-stop. So,
what was your motivation?
For London, I think obviously being in a home games is just absolutely amazing, and I think that would probably be motivation for anyone. But I think also I thrive on people telling me I can't do something, and so rowing, Paralympic rowing is just such an amazing situation for me to be able to do that, because people say, okay, well you're a Paralympic athlete, so this is your standard and that's the Olympic standard, and it's a very nice goal to be able to go, well, I want to get as close to that as possible with the disability that I have. So I think that I'm quite motivated by just basically being the best person that I can be, best rower I can be. After I was kicked out of the army, when they said, oh no, you wouldn't be able to do that job because of your disability, it kind of fueled my fire, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do something 10 times better than that. So,
what would you say to people with disabilities to get into rowing?
It's a really good sport to get into, especially rowing in Great Britain. It's a really well-funded sport. It's probably one of the best well-funded Paralympic sports in the whole country. And so for that we have loads of support. We've got regular physio and great coaching and everything. And it's just a really great atmosphere to be in, because, as I said, nobody's limited by their disabilities. Everyone does the same thing. Everyone's rowing along, whether it be in an arms-only single or LTA 4 or an Olympic boat. You're all getting a boat from point A to point B in the quickest time possible, and I think that's a really great mentality to have. And you say, yeah, I have to row in a boat with a cox because we've got visually impaired rowers in the boat, or I have to row in a mixed boat. But it's not a limitation to me. It's just a place for me to be able to go and still be the best athlete I can be personally, and try and make it work with a crew. So adaptive rowing is a really great sort of avenue to look through if you've got a disability and you want to get into sport. You kind of look around for adaptive rowing on the internet and go and find a club that offers coaching for that, and then that will lead you into the Paralympic rowing programme if you're right for it, if you're good enough, if you've got the right classification, if you've got the right disability to make yourself competitive at high levels. So it's a really great sort of system.